In 80 Days, adventurer and award-winning filmmaker Paul G. Roberts retraces the global footsteps of Phileas Fogg, hero of Jules Verne's most famous work.
I'm here in LA on the famous Sunset Strip, the legendary road which is home to so many iconic music venues. And yes, that's a guitar behind me.
California is the place you ought to be, so they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is, swimming pools, movie stars. The Beverly Hillbillies.
In LA, Los Angeles, swimming pools, movie stars. That's how the Beverly Hillbillies saw LA. How you see it could be many things. Tinseltown, La La Land, Disneyland, Hollywood, City of Angels, backdrop for Heat, Collateral, Michael Mann's Incarnations. However you see it, the City of Angels, Los Angeles, is one thing that every human on the culture planet has a take on. They have a space in all of their minds, imaginations. Whether it's the movies or the music or it's the Kardashians, which are all plastered all over this crazy city. One thing you can't do is ignore. From the ancient tar pits of La Brea to the movie studios of Hollywood. around 1769, when the first Mexican and Spanish settlers arrived, the basin was already inhabited by many tribes of indigenous groups, all with their own languages, cultures, mythology, and ways of dressing. The Coahuila in Riverside alone had a population of 10,000 people in 50 different towns. And even back to 500 AD, the area known as Los Angeles was home to the Chumash and the Tonga peoples. And the area that became Los Angeles was formerly claimed by Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo for Spain in 1542. So the city was actually founded on September the 4th, 1781, under Spanish governor Felipe de Neve on the village of Yanga. In 781, Los Angeles was founded under a different name. Back then, it was known as the slightly hard to pronounce, the El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora de la Reina de Los Angeles de Poquecula. Pretty hard to put on a business card. And the population till 1800s was but a mere 315 people. And Los Angeles, unknown to a lot of people, actually had a very strong black influence, black, people living there, more than people realise. And when the city was founded in 1781, there were a group of 44 Mexican settlers, and 26 of these were actually of African descent. Pio de Jesus Pico, who was of both African and American descent, was one of the first governors of that area that is now known as the city of Los Angeles. In fact, he served as the governor of Alto, California twice, and was even a councilman before his untimely death. By the early 1820s, there was a lot of interest in the West Coast. The Portuguese were there, the Spanish, the Mexicans, and they all vied for control of California. There are a lot of geopolitical power plays going on, and in 1821, Mexico achieved its independence from Spain. Now, the 1800s was a very, interesting time in Los Angeles, and quite a bit happened. 1865, the American Civil War had ended, and African Americans were going to Los Angeles in significant numbers. And in 1869, the first Southern Californian Railroad was constructed, and it connected downtown LA with San Pedro Bay, 21 miles away. In 1870, whites outnumbered Hispanics and Native Americans for the first time in Los Angeles, but that was to be short-lived. And then in 1871, the first rail link established Los Angeles and San Francisco. In 1873, the first seedless navel orange was introduced to California from Brazil. Further to that, in 1877, thanks to these new refrigerated boxcar technology, Californian oranges started becoming a sensation in places like St. Louis, and agriculture began to replace the mainstay of the local economy. And in the 1880s, citrus, wine grapes and other fruits and vegetables also started being grown in Los Angeles area. The present day Beverly Hills was largely bean fields, and Hollywood was actually fig orchards.
I've been bullied by my dear, wonderful niece Rowena to try and tell you something about my memories as a little child and about Los Angeles when it was a charming, beautiful little city, quiet, green hills, beautiful orchards of walnuts, oranges, and olives.
In 1880, the first Chinatown was established, centered on Alameda and Macy Streets, now Cesar Chavez Avenue, and today the area is the site of the Union Station. In 1881, the Los Angeles Times debuted as the Los Angeles Daily Times, and the Times would later go on to be one of the most distinguished daily newspapers in all of the USA. And by the latter half of the 20th century, it had won 45 Pulitzer Prizes. And then in 1881, there was more rail action. The Southern Pacific Railroad was linking Los Angeles directly with the eastern United States for the very first time. And in 1885, the Santa Fe Railroad opened a second line linking Los Angeles with the rest of the nation. In 1886, Harvey Henderson Wilcox purchased 160 acres of land west of Cahuenga Pass, and he planned a residential community. He named it Hollywood, after the estate of an acquaintance of his wife, Dida. In 1886, the price of a train ticket between Kansas and Los Angeles falls to $1, prompting another population boom of people flooding into the Los Angeles area. And in 1890, the Los Angeles population reached a record 50,000 people. In 1892, there was another discovery, and this time it was oil. Edward Doheny discovered his oil at Greasy Gulch near Westlake Park, and soon oil is being discovered all over the Los Angeles area. By 1897, 500 oil wells are operating within Los Angeles. And in 1897, the first automobile took to the streets of Los Angeles. Unlike a lot of cities around the world that grew organically, spreading out as the population did, Los Angeles had numerous influences that shaped certain districts, some faster and some slower than others. And out of the 1800s, we now enter the 1900s. And I guess this was the time for Hollywood. Up to the 20th century, a majority of families in LA were Native American, African, and European. The 1900s, however, attracted more people from abroad to settle in Los Angeles. There was also an influx of Japanese and Mexicans in Southern California, and during World War I, a number of more African Americans also started settling there. In 1911, the first Hollywood production company, Nestor Film Company, opened in an abandoned tavern, and soon there were signs being erected. No dogs, no actors. And it was in 1913 that a real landmark event happened. It was Cecil B. DeMille. He shot the first Hollywood movie called Squaw Man.
Wait a minute, baby. No Jane runs out on Hawkins. Least of all a squaw.
You're wrong, Cat.
Shut up.
In 1915, Carl Laemmle opened Universal Picture Company, the world's largest motion picture production company and facility near Cahuenga Pass. And he was charging the public 25 cents to watch films being shot on location, and even included a box lunch. And then in 1918, brothers Sam, Jack, Harry, and Albert Warner, immigrants from Poland via Pennsylvania, opened the now legendary Warner Brothers Studios on Sunset Boulevard. And as you know, it would wind up one of the world's most famous movie studios, producing everything from Harry Potter to the Batman series. representing